Alright, here we are, just days away from Remembrance Day. I want to show a couple clips of two people who gave their lives for us here in Canada, how we live our lives because of them. This is why we live our lives, is the freedom that we have, the democracy that we have, even though it may seem like we live in capitalism society now. But in spite of all that, they gave their lives for us to live the lives that we live today. One of the people that I'm going to show is a famous person you may recognize from television. And the second person is my late grandfather, who came home after the Second World War. He died in 1996. He died, I might have been 15, 16 years old at the time. I was on a wrestling tournament. I believe I was in Upper Sackville at the time when he passed. Because I remember when I won a ribbon, first place ribbon I believe it was, I donated that ribbon to him. I gave it to him actually. But after when he passed, I got no regrets doing that. But one of the things I wanted to do is give the recognition that my late great grandfather deserves, because in spite of the job or jobs that our men and women had done during the Second World War, they put their time and effort and sacrifice their lives as they put their lives on the line to protect our freedom so we can live the lives how we live our lives today, in spite that we may not see it all that way. But anyways, I'm going to show one clip right here, a picture of a person I should say, you may recognize from television. He's a Canadian actor. He actually was here in Halifax as a kid, believe it or not. His name's James Doohan. You may recognize him from the original Star Trek series. He's a Canadian actor. He played the character Scotty, who you all remember as Scotty on the original Star Trek. He was the famous engineer for Captain Kirk on the USS Enterprise. But anyways, let's show his clip right here. And one of the things what you don't realize is he was shot 6 times. He lost a finger. He shot his finger off. He landed on D-Day, above all, that besides the Second World War. Anyways, let's go show him. But anyways, here's the clip of actor James Doohan. In spite that actor James Doohan had a finger shot off during the Second World War, I have to admit, the producers of Star Trek did a pretty good job of hiding his missing finger when he played his character Scotty on the television show Star Trek. Because when you watch the show, several other actors from the show had served in the Second World War, but we decided to show James Doohan because he was a Canadian actor who sacrificed and gave his life for our great nation of Canada. All right, now that we've seen James Doohan, now I'm going to show you another war veteran who gave his life for us to live their lives how we live today. My late great-grandfather, Lee Gould, served overseas. He gave his life to protect us. He worked on the ships. He was in the Navy. He came home after the Second World War had ended. Before he died, I can't count the amount of heart attacks he had. He died in 1996 at the age of 84. He had one leg. Very good guy. If anybody was going to say anything about him, he was very gentle, very warm-hearted person. He was a friendly person. Despite that he passed away during my time when I was actually on tour at a wrestling tournament at the time, I always said maybe I should have been in the hospital when he was getting ready to pass on. In spite of what he did, I often looked at him as a hero. He may not have seen himself as a hero. He probably would not have. If he was alive today, he probably would not have looked at himself as that. He just would have said, I was called to duty for my country. I served my country, and I did my job. That's exactly how he would have looked at it as. And he would have encouraged myself to get that poppy, and I did. In 2012, I gave a war wreath to my grandfather. The one thing that he had never received during his whole time when he'd been a Second World War veteran. From his entire family, nobody but myself gave him a wreath to show his recognition that he did for our great country of Canada. When I gave him that wreath, my feeling was it was something that he deserved that was long overdue. And when I gave it to him, he rightfully deserved it. And I gotta say, in spite of all the negativity that we see in our society, even all the dark, dark things that we see in our country around us, either with the courts, how they look down on people when they shouldn't be, the police, how the wrong people get behind the badge, how they tend to throw their power of authority around when they think they have it over other people when they don't. We often, sometimes we may feel that we live in a capitalism society, even though it may not be that, but even though it seems like that quite a bit, even though that the wrong people get elected, we still live in a very, very better country than the rest of the world. I would say Canada is one of the top best countries to live in compared to what we see around the world around us. As we have a situation in Ukraine, and then we have another crisis, I believe, in Iran, or Israel, I should say. We still live in a society that, is pretty good from the rest of the world. But in spite of all that, this flag that I stand behind here today is still one of the best countries in the world. And I say on Remembrance Day, at least you can do is spend the money, donate, so you can wear a poppy, remember our men and women who gave their lives so we can live the lives that we live today. Because if it wasn't for them, things could have been very, very different. And one of the things that a lot of people often forget about, Hitler could have won that war quite easily. In fact, he was very close from winning that war very easily. And it's one of the things that I notice today in the world is we often don't respect and appreciate the things that we have today or live the lives how we live today. We don't appreciate as much as we should because we have too much of everything. We have the best of everything and we don't realize it because we're so used to it. And I always say every Remembrance Day, at least you can do is wear a poppy. But anyways, thank you for watching this video.